Hey there, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and today's project I am super excited about. It is a pop-up gnome birthday card that I made using MFT Stamps You Gnome Me stamp set, which you see right there, and then a bunch of Lawn Fawn dies to make it awesome. So, as you can see, I am stamping several of the images from the You Gnome Me stamp set onto some Nina Solar White cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, because I'm going to be coloring these guys with my Spectrum Noir markers. And I'm stamping, 2 gnomes, several mushrooms, and a couple of snails. So to color in my gnomes, I am using FS2 as the base coat, which is sort of the lightest shade. I'm making these guys Caucasian. Then using FS3 for shading, and just a little bit here or there. And then of course he has to have pink cheeks and little pink ears, so I had to add PP1 in for the pink on his cheeks and his ears. And then I'll add a little bit of FS3 to his nose, and then I'm going to blend it all back out with FS2. Just to get kind of like, I didn't do any fancy shading or crazy coloring on this really. It was pretty basic. I was really thought just some really bright colors was what I was going for. So this is CR10, which is kind of an orangey red, and then I'm adding in CR8, which is a darker red for some shading. I was going for like a Scandinavian-ish kind of gnome because I'm giving this to my dad for his birthday. So he loves gardening, and he's also Scandinavian, so I wanted to do like a Scandinavian gnome. Now I did start off coloring his blue coat with TB2, but wound up coloring over the whole thing with TB3. So I don't think you even have to bother with TB2, just go straight to TB3 if you want to redo this. And then I'm adding shading with TB5. So the blue coat and the red hat and then green pants seem to be kind of the traditional gnome look for Scandinavian gnomes, but it was a little hard to find out for sure, but that's what I went with. So here's his green pants. So I'm starting with CG1, and then I'm going to add some DG2, which is kind of a olivey green, and then to get more of a dark green, I'm going to go with DG3. So that really gets it pretty dark, and then I'm going to try to blend it out with CG1, but they're pretty far apart on the value scale. So I'm going to do some tip to tip, taking the CG1 to the DG3 to get it to kind of do a middle shade in between the two that will get me like the dark green, but not too dark and not too bright on his pants. Hopefully that makes sense. But the tip to tip thing works really well to kind of bridge the gap, because the DG2, the olivey green, wasn't really helping, to be honest. And then I gave their feet and buttons and his belt some TN7 and TN8 to turn them brown. And I will kind of fast forward here because I don't think you need to watch me color every single thing. But I did color his like undershirt kind of like a brown gray. So I used BG2, 4, and 6 for that. And now I'm just using IG 1 and 2 for his beard and the shovel. And then I'll finish off the shovel with some TN7. Now for my small mushrooms, I did CT2, and then I added shading with CT4 and OR1, and then the little freckles are CR10, CR10. And then the bigger one, I went a little bit lighter, so I did CT1, CT2 right now for some shading, and then some CT4 for even more shading, and then did the CR10 again for the little freckly spots, and blended that with the CT1. So the bigger one's a little bit brighter than the smaller one, but not significantly. And then for my snails, I wanted them to be kind of purple, so I started with PL1, and then I added LV1, but neither one of those really worked, so then I went with PL2, and then added LV3 to get it really dark, and then I blended the whole thing with PL2. So really, I think you only need PL2 and LV3 to get their bodies to look the purpley color that I got them. And then I gave their like snaily bits brown gray, so BG2, and then I added some shading with BG4. And I do fussy cut all of that out. Now for the components for the card, here are the Lawn Fawn goodies. So I used the Stitched Hillside Pop-Up die, which is like that base piece there on the right. And then I used the Flower Hillside Pop-Up add-on dies to do the little flower pieces that you see there. And as you will notice, so here's the base piece, that Hillside Pop Up, and I cut that out of Craft, which was the color of my card base. And then for the flower hillsides, I did 2 each of each size. So I did one in green and one in white. So those are adhered together on that small piece there. And the bigger pieces that you see are not completed yet. So I'm going to show you how I put them together, basically colored them and put them together, just so you can get a feel for that. So I wanted to color my flowers using matching the markers. So that's why I did white. And then I cut a few extra of the individual flowers to make centers. So I am using the same Spectrum Noirs. So this is, let's see here, CR10 and then CR8 on my tulips. And then this is DG3 for the tulip stems. And so I'm just coloring right on the white. And then for my little white daisies, I did DG2 for the stems. And then the centers are the CT4 that I'm just going to adhere to the back. So it's like the individual flowers that you just adhere onto the back of the flowers with the stem to get the center. Now you could also cut those out of like colored cardstock too to just create your center if you didn't want to bother with all the cutting. So then on my green one, I'm just trimming off the flowers because I don't need it, and I'm just going to adhere it down on top of the white. So I got my colored flowers with the white, and then the grass green cardstock from Gina K Designs is the green that creates the literally grass, the grass on the hillside. And I used liquid glue because I thought it was a little tricky to line them up to get them perfect, but so liquid glue is better than I could still move it a little bit. Now the mechanism, you fold the bottom flap back, and there I've put some blued paper on the inside for my sky. Then you fold that right piece down, so it goes folded back on the right, then the tabs go back, and then the foldy parts go down. Hopefully that made sense. The Lawn Fawn does have a really good video showing you how to do that if I'm a little bit too quick about it. And for me, I thought it was easier to add the add-on piece before I stuck the mechanism into the card. That just, I don't know, I wanted to make sure I lined it up really well. You don't have to do it that way, but that was easier for me. And I also wanted to mention that you do need to do those flowers out of some probably at least 100-pound cardstock to keep them like really, stiff and in good condition. Now here I'm adding tape to the bottom flap and then the 2 smaller tabs on the back. So you're going to fold this back and then line it up against the fold on the card base and then adhere it down. And so that's like the main pop-up mechanism. And then peel the backing off the 2 tabs, tabs. We'll call them tabs. Then you're going to push that right piece down, so to the back, and then fold the flap down and fold the other flap down, and then you close the card. And that's how you get it to adhere perfectly to the back of the card and work just fine and nicely. Just like that. Pretty cute. Really, the die does all the work for you. It's super easy. So to I had to add my gnomes, of course, obviously. So I have the gnome with the shovel and then the big mushroom that I'm sticking to the front. And you do have to make sure that you line these up kind of right with the bottom edge of the hillside so that it doesn't interfere with the fold when you fold it down. And then I cut some clouds with these puffy cloud borders, simple puffy cloud borders die sets, and then I stamped them with birthday wishes from Happy Happy Happy, and then that happy is also from Happy Happy Happy, and I stamped that on some Gina K Designs blue denim, and I kind of arranged that on the inside to say happy birthday wishes. Now on the front, I needed a couple of extra accessories, so I stamped 2 flowers from Fab Flowers and cut them out with the dies. I used the Gina K Design ink that you'll see there, and all the supplies and colors and everything that I list are available in the supply list on the video as well as over on my blog post, so either place. And then I added a little bit of Nuvo glitter drops in ruby slippers to the center of the flowers. Now the frame I've got here is from Say Cheese Again, and I wanted to create like a little kind of Polaroid photo of the gnome being funny on the front. So I cut an extra one of the smaller flower hillside add-ons, And I'm just adhering that down to a piece of the same blue linen cardstock that I used on the inside of the card for the sky. And now I'm going to take the frame that I cut from Say Cheese again and put it around him and the flower border to create the little sort of look of a funny Polaroid on the front, like he's making a funny face for a birthday greeting, I guess. And and it's it hints at the sort of Scandinavian-ness inside with the red and the white and the yellow, which I think are pretty traditional Scandinavian colors. So anyway, so I'm just trimming off anything that was full of sticking out around the side, and now I am going to put my gnome in place. And I did have to kind of pry up the front because I have to get his feet, or at least one of his feet, under the frame. And then I'm going to use Zig 2A glue on his feet and an ATG gun on the rest of him and just get him positioned in place. So I needed to stamp Sending You on the front of this. Oh, and here I wanted to show that I'm using my Tombow Mono sand eraser to erase kind of some mess off of the front of this, and I'm also using my white glaze pen to cover stuff up too. And both of those I love to clean up messes. So here I am stamping Sending You onto the front of this, and then I'm going to take the Blueprint Sketch Distress Marker and add the 3 dots there. So it completes the grading, so it says Sending You, and then on the inside, Happy Birthday Wishes. So I used kind of a combination of ATG gun and Elizabeth Craft Designs tape to tape him down. And then I'm going to add my little snails and flowers and one little mushroom accessories to the front. So I used 3mm adhesive and then a little bit of foam tape here and there, like the snail and the mushroom have a little bit of foam tape on them just to keep them level with the Polaroid because it's a little bit higher up. So I added all that to the back of that so he's level, and then I will adhere down the small fab flower and the leaves on the right hand side, and then I will get the snail and the bigger flower up here on the left hand side as well. And I wanted to be kind of simple on the front because the inside is so fun and super happy and crazy, so I thought the front could be a little bit simpler. And that is the completed project. And there's the outside, and then you open up, and that's what you get on the inside. And it's so cute. And you can see I added a snail to the inside. And I also cut a rectangle using the Elizabeth Craft Designs Stitched Rectangles die set to kind of get that stitching detail on the place where I could write a grading. So that is the project, and I am super happy with how it turned out. I think it's so cute. And I love combining different manufacturer stuff. I think the MFT stamps go really, really well with the Lawn Fawn dies. It looks really cute. It looks like it was made to all go together. At least I think so. So hopefully I gave you a little inspiration for a Scandinavian-ish gnome kind of birthday card. Thank you so much for watching. As always, there are supplies listed in the video description and over on the blog post at blacksheep303.com. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would really love it if you would subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at blacksheep303. Thanks!